7:30, and we're at the Radisson in Sydney, and our room is 0605, and Marge's going to open it up and take us on a tour.
No, I'll just let you walk around.
Open it up and take us on a tour.
No, I'll just let you walk around.
Try, hi.
You just go ahead, look around.
This is the
It's really beautiful.
bathroom, beautiful, beautiful. Whoops, watch your step. Nice bath and shower. I won't take the rest of them yet. So we'll pass through and see the rest of the room. Very classy. Nice double bed. You can see through here, they got a door that opens up into the bathroom. Window, I mean, which is pretty classy. And the most impressive thing is that if I can get it, it gets flopping around here. But this is, dear Mr. and Mrs. Wagner, welcome. Oh, it is our pleasure to welcome you to Radisson Plaza Hotel, Sydney.
Around to the Opera House by about 9:30, but in the meantime we're going to do one or two things, more than likely down to the Mrs. Macquarie's chair for your photo shoot. Yes, now we want big smiles, but just want to take you there first because the makeup's still hanging on. And the shave looks pretty fresh. It's as good as we're going to be all day, isn't it? So for you people down the back, when we go around the corner and I say, look at so-and-so, you'll do it 5 seconds after everybody else.
Just as well as I did. I don't remember a thing. After I finished watching the cricket, I had a shower and went to bed, and that was it. Now, just I wasn't sure what sort of order Rob wanted to do things in. This is his city, so he's the boss around here. And you've got me and John around this morning as servants, so order us around. And, well, the first thing he's decided we might do, because the air's lovely, there won't be too many people around, Grand Circle contract these people to do a group photograph for it. It is an optional extra, but it's really lovely. It's 15 Australian dollars, and they put it in this great souvenir folder with, you know, spaces for signatures and photos of the Opera House. And the backdrop is actually the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge. So it's and then he delivers them later to the hotel. And that's all there is to it. I didn't explain it earlier because I didn't know what time it was going to happen. But we're going to do it now.
Keep the taxes coming in. Oops. I want to move. Little fruit stand back there. Right on the corner. And this is Monday morning.
This is Monday morning.
We're taking a grand tour of Sydney.
I want to know where or Hong Kong for $9.99. And there's 4 nights. Norfolk Island.
Okay, so Rosie's finished there for a while, so we'll, that's all right. So this end of town, which is the heading towards the east, directly into the sun, as we go up Macquarie Street, I'll point out a few things to you, and then as we go back down Macquarie Street after we leave Mrs. Macquarie's chair, what I missed on the way up, I'll get on the way down. How's that sound? So this is up the top here is Macquarie Street. Macquarie Street is renowned, has been for probably 50 years or more, renowned as the business end of town. So this is where you're more than likely going to find your specialist type doctors and your big business executives and head offices of most of the big companies and corporations throughout Sydney. And years ago we used to have a term for people up here called the Pitt Street Farmers, And the Pitt Street farmers, even though Pitt Street is 2 blocks down, it basically applied to the people in Macquarie Street who had farms and out in the west, and utilised our tax system to finance everything else from the farms, and they ran the farms from their office desk up here in Macquarie Street. We had a few little lurks and perks in those days, also another little scheme that we used to call the bottom of the harbour scheme. It was as sus as it sounds. But they were all, the idea being that these people were all wealthy landowners and business people, and they had incredible tax sort of write-offs that they could use for their properties, and not even step foot on a property, and not one of them was a farmer in the real sense. So okay, we just come up into Macquarie Street now. This is Hunter Street. We're just coming up. Governor Macquarie, he had a 12-year term here. 12 years is quite a lengthy term, and he was responsible for most of the building works that got kicked off. Just down on the left-hand side here, during that period of time, these buildings came about. The first one is our old Parliament House. The next one on the left is the hospital, the Rum Hospital they call it. And the next one down is the Mint. Those 3 buildings were basically some of the first buildings built in the city. And he was responsible for getting this up and running and starting to establish some sort of law and order in the colony. Just quickly on the right-hand side, you'll see a building with the coat of arms of Australia on it. Those coat of arms represents the 2 animals that are representative on the coat of arms are the kangaroo and the emu, and they were chosen purely and simply for the fact that they have they cannot retreat, they can't move backwards. Either animal, kangaroo can't move back because his tail sort of doesn't allow him to, and the emu, I think, is just because it's stupid. I don't really know the reason for it. So as we go around the corner here, we'll just quickly show you, we'll talk about this some more on the way out, but this is St Mary's Cathedral. It's the 6th largest cathedral in the world. There's a history behind its building, and I'll talk to you about that later on. It's a Catholic Botanical Gardens, the area called the Domain, and the Domain has an inner and outer section. Oh, years ago it did, now it's just basically all one area, but this is where everybody came to relax. It was all set aside as parklands. It houses our museum, our art gallery, and the art gallery is down here on the right-hand side, and in that art gallery is lots of the early works of the New South Wales history, and some very famous, if not infamous, paintings of some of our more glorified artists. A lot of Aboriginal art in there. One section set aside purely for Aboriginal art, and it's well worth having a look at. The 2 big statues that are outside the art gallery there with the riders on board horseback represent the spoils of war and peace. Just as we drive down here, this is the start of the Botanical Gardens on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side is what we call the Finger Wharfs of Woolloomooloo. Can you say that? Woolloomooloo? Oh, I'll ask you to spell it later. So this has been an area where the sailors come in here on the ships during leave, the Second World War and during the Vietnam conflict. So anybody that had sons or even were involved with that themselves that had R&R in Sydney, this is where they would have tied the ships up when the boys headed up and over the hill to King's Cross. I don't know what they went up there for, but yes I do. But anyway, this is where it was, but for years and years and years it was the old wharfing system where they unloaded the clippers, the wool, the imports and exports in the early days of the colony. And just in the last 20 years it was quite debatable as to who actually owned them, and now they've been taken over. We've been waiting for years to see them get repaired, and they have now, and now they are $2 million apartments. For an extra $220,000 you can have your own berth to put your boat. So after you've forked out all that money, you've got to go and buy a $250,000 boat to put on your mooring. But they find the main, they do it. So here we go, just as we're coming into here now, you start to be able to pick up the sites to the left of the Harbour Bridge and the Opera House, a beautiful spot. You would have, without a doubt, the best day that I've seen here in probably 2 weeks.
Wonderful. We're glad
The weather's been dicey, hanging on, rain, overcast. We've actually had some photos in the rain. And that wet look is really reserved for the bathroom or the beach, not for your group photo. So here on the left-hand side, this is where it will be. I'll drop you off here on the left, just behind this other coach here. And I think Rosie will probably walk you across after your photo.
Eat 'em. Come on out.
He's cleaning himself now. Cleaning himself.
Come look here. Look here.
Hey. All right. Guys, get over there. I'll get your picture.
Oh, I thought you said, well, there you are, honey.
You guys get over there. I'll get your picture. William, get over there so I can get your picture. But with the Opera House. You got to sing though, Bill. Sing, Bill. Okay. Break it up now. Break it up. Let's put on another raincoat demonstration, okay? Okay.
Those figures up on top of the tower, they were put up there for the Olympics. And there's it's a figure of a runner and a runner and another kind of athlete. I'm not sure what the other one was, but they were put up there by a helicopter before the games. And now there's a big fight as to who owns them to get them down. Oh, I could get them down, real easy. $100 I'd get them down. Just go up there with my little hacksaw and... But anyway, they were going to cost them $2 million to put them up there. Here's the King Cross area. The area down to the immediate front and left, down on the water's edge, is that area of Woolloomooloo, as I mentioned to you earlier. And this area here was basically the residence of all the people who worked in the maritime industry, because bear in mind, in the early days of the convicts, in the 1800s, all of this area was given up to ships, cargoes, import and export the products that the new colony needed, and to export some of the, by the 1830s and 50s, we were actually exporting product back to England. I don't think we ever exported to establish the colony over here. They knew of the east coast of Australia, and it nearly sort of came about that they wanted to come over here, and they said, no, we're not going to do that, and then England sent the convicts over here. Some say it was out of the fat and into the frying pan type of thing. That's another saying we have here. I don't know if you use that one at all, but the idea being that some 1,100 of them came with Captain Phillip, who was... see, they landed in... Captain Cook went to Botany Bay, of course. Don't know how she did that, but it doesn't actually tell us in our history books. But she did. She became the founder of the West Bank. I think it was the Bank of New South Wales first. By what I've read, it says that she was came to be a postal clerk in the postal system, and the government said, well, we're not paying for it. Not all of it, anyway. So it basically became funded by a lottery system. People's Lottery, and we used to buy Opera House lottery tickets and hope to win $100,000. Excuse me just for a second while I chat to this friendly gentleman on the gate here, who will say to me, "You're early."
It's the hardest thing he ever did in his life, and he runs 6 miles a day.
Just pass that book over to me, John. G'day, mate. How you going? Yeah, we went over there and did it for nothing.
But you can walk across
They'd have
it.
to pay me to walk it.
But you can walk
Oh, I don't think I'd do it now.
No thank you.
For the bridge, I might run over a Japanese tourist here in a second. What's this? This will make a good photo for it. Look at this, the underneath of the bus, Mum. But those pylons on the end of the bridge, she's not going to take any notice of me.
Bridge.
Give her the horn. The bridge actually ends there, for the
Underneath.
Underneath the Opera House.
Getting ready for a grand tour
Yeah.
as soon as we get off the bus.
How the heck do I get out of here?
After the tour of the Opera House, we're going to walk the bridge up on top. I don't know if they get the groups up there now. There's about 3 groups on their way up. There's one big one there. There's another one. Get to get up to the top. No way, Jose. Cost $100 and I wouldn't pay them. They couldn't pay me $100 to crawl up there.
We had some people on tour the other day that saw the people going up the bridge. They were under the impression they were riding the escalator up to the top.
If they bought a ticket, they wouldn't go.
Indeed, that's not the case. It's all stairs. There we are. So that's the Harbour Bridge. No escalator on the Harbour Bridge, however. Underneath we've got Luna Park, which is the fun park we see across the way here, much like by Sydney-siders. Just over directly in front of us here by convict labour. It's a nice reminder of Australia's colonial past, and we can see all of that from here. Now, the glass that we're looking through to see this view is very interesting stuff, as it turns out. It's quite thick. It's 2 plates of glass which have been laminated together. It's 1.5 inches thick. As a result of that, about 70% of the harbour noise is screened out of this foyer. Now, the concrete interior of the concert hall, which is just behind us over there, that's very thick, and that does the rest of the work in terms of soundproofing the building. As a result of that, we can have concerts in the concert hall here, operas in the opera theatre next door, large ships can come past, as we have at the present moment out in the harbour. People inside the halls are none the wiser, so they can't hear the noise of the ship coming past while the show's on. Very good way of soundproofing the building. It works extremely effectively. Just over here, you'll notice as well, we've got an excellent view of the roof tiles of the Opera House. These are of the roof vaults, rather, of the Opera House. These vaults are, of course, covered in ceramic tiles. These tiles are similar to the tiles that you might find at home in your bathroom. These tiles are fully imported from Sweden. They're triple glazed. They're treated with an...
Isn't that fairy? One of them, I guess. Huh?
Okay, just while we're dawdling along here, we'll talk about doing the coffee cruise on the harbour. Now, I mentioned to do it this afternoon, which I think, considering the weather is so lovely, would probably be a good idea to capitalise on that and do it this afternoon for those of you who want to. For $19, it's the best afternoon's money you could...
That is not a graveyard, not in the true sense. I suppose it's a graveyard in the sense that it's they're all the stones, the stones they put down when they build a new building. They all date back to the 1800s, where we've lost buildings through them being knocked down or whatever the case is. And as they've knocked them down, they've hung on to the stones, I don't know what you call them. There's layer stones, the King's Guard. In the Hyde Park there, you'll see the Archibald Fountain. And
Oh, yeah.
the Archibald Fountain represents just overbuilt in the 1860s. It was ravaged by fire and rebuilt again on the inner side. It's got some of the greatest architecture in the country is in that cathedral. A lot of New Zealand timbers and rocks were used in the building of it, and the glasswork depicts the problems that it had in the early days when it was burnt down, and some of the glasswork and the artwork that you'll get. And this one's well worth having a look at.
Look how far away it is.
Take it from the blue R's that you think that's pretty good.
It's gorgeous.
I think it's pretty good too. Yes, as quickly as we can, we've got a couple of other things we want to show you. Oh, yeah.
You're going to go take a picture?
The cliffs on the right-hand side, they just drop straight down into the water, about 300, 350 feet. And to the right is the heads, North Head on the other side, another fortress over there as well, the artillery.
I think he said
And then looking directly in front of us, the greeny land over there is the... It used to go out and meet the big liners and the big cargo ships and pilot them through Sydney Heads, because right in the middle of Sydney Harbour, about that middle harbour section, there's quite a area down there was devoted to whaling type of activities, which is now long gone, I'm glad to say.
It's a Tasman.
Stop here just again for a couple of minutes. Don't get too close to the fence. Don't get over the fence, is probably the best advice. But this is the gap. Do you want to go out?
Yep.
Have a quick photo?
They're a nice Pepsi can.
Tasman Sea.
It is. It's beautiful. That's the only way they can get into Sydney Harbour, too.
Big crowd on Bondi Beach. Most weekends you get 40,000 people out here on the height of summer. The record was 150,000 back in 1965 when the mercury hit in our scale 46 degrees.
North Bondi.
And that was at, right through till about 9 o'clock in the evening.
Oh,
Very, very, very hot.
terrible.
Yep, this is where the beach volleyball was. It was right smack on the beach there, right in front of the for the Olympics. Yes, right there in front of the left-hand side, you'll see a creamy coloured building. That's the pavilion. Has a history of years gone by. This is a place to go and dance on a Saturday night and lay around and swim on the beach and etc. etc. A lot of fun. To get to that, I'll pull up just up here on the left-hand side. You see a little bridge here that says clearance 9 feet. You walk over that bridge, down the steps.
I had some candy anyhow. He had a whole candy dish there. It's a good sized ship. Captain Cook. For the last one, you can see it. Oh, he missed it. He missed it. Now watch how he does that, Donna. I want you to do it real fast. When we take our pontoon boat to the marina.
Way to go, Captain Cook.
You know,
Good job.
When you're trying to.
The arch of Sydney Harbour Bridge, Bridge Clyde. But we're leaving all this behind us. We're making our way down the main harbour. So we do take in some views now on our right-hand side, starboard side. Now, the directions I'm offering you through the cruise, these are as you do face the front of the boat. Starboard side here is the right-hand side, port side, left-hand side. Well, here on our starboard side, the right, a house I think you recognise. Just next to us now is the Sydney Opera House. And the Opera House is our performing arts centre in Sydney. In this complex we do have a concert hall, opera theatre, drama theatre, playhouse and studio. These two shelves of the house we see looking down on us. The larger shelf next to us here is a concert hall, home to the Sydney Symphony Orchestra. There is seating in here for about 2,600 people. The smaller shelf next to it is the Opera Theatre, housing the Australian Ballet Company and the Sydney Dance Company. Seating up in here for about 1,600 people. Now, an international competition was held for the designing of the house. That competition was won by a Danish architect, Jørgen Utzon, in 1957. Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, our state governor. The Governor of New South Wales is Professor Marie Bashir. Our first female state of the governor of the state only signed in on the 1st of March. Yeehaw. Stays though surrounding the cove, we have the Royal Botanic Gardens. Really lovely place to come and have a walk. In the gardens here there is a restaurant and a cafe.
Yeah, he turned all of a sudden, didn't he?
All down through here, on the right of the harbour, we have the eastern suburb. The house has had several owners over the years. One of the big families that did own it for a while was Bushell's family, a tea importer. The last of that family passed away back in 1960, so the house was sold. And back in 1960, it was actually worth all the way up to 20 million. These lovely large houses down here at the water's edge, these are in the 10 through to $19 million bracket. Point Piper alongside us. I hate to add to all of this as well, but they are second homes for many people, and some of them are lived in for very brief periods of each year. I think their housekeepers have more fun in the homes than the actual owners. And a good mix of different style training ship. Spartan, just next to us. Oh, over past it, that's Shark Island. But more views for us just for the area. It's also a bit of a tradition that's been here since the very early 1900s. And in a way, because basically it's guys that hang out on this beachfront. It's always that one, we might say, Lady Bay.
Behind these guys.
So have a good look, that precious male body of the boat exposed. We have to use our imaginations a little bit from this distance, don't we? And Mike, we're good at that. Just a bit of fun there. Lady Bay. Now, directly next to us, though, South Head. On the right, South Head. Across from us is North Head. And you're now looking at the entry and exit to our harbour. Up on South Head next to us is a red and white striped lighthouse. That's the Hornsey Lighthouse. It was built up here in 1859. Houses out near it were once used by lighthouse keepers.
Well, good morning, mates. It's Thursday morning, about 6 o'clock in the morning. This is the front of our hotel. We are getting ready to leave to fly to Auckland, New Zealand here shortly after we have breakfast at 6:30 to get on the bus by 7. So let's go inside and see what it looks like. Pretty hotel. Open sesame. There's the desk. That's the way to the elevators. Some more desk. Very pretty. There's our waiting room. Lounge, waiting to go into get our breakfast. There's Bill and Donna Stoller and Marge with all our baggage. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda. There's the bar. Here's the restaurant. Buffet breakfast. That's about it. Sign on offer. Here's the sign. International.
Someplace in Montana, it got the high of
How to get to the airport.
12 or 115 in Montana, and a low of 70 below or whatever. I think it was. I can't remember now. It was the most variation, widest spans of temperature.
take it.
It says Airport Central. It doesn't say Sydney, but it says Airport Central.
That was free to stay on.
There you're going to see the Annie White.
Jean Kelly.
Granted, there's the whole thing right there.
Wrong way. Singing in the rain.
We're on our way to Auckland, to New Zealand.
Is that the one?
All right, mate.
I have two sons, Rosie, and they both started in their money making careers, you know, as young dentists there 2 years ago.
Get it? Oh, yeah, there it is. We're at Sydney Airport on our way to New Zealand. It's now 9:30. Yeah, 9:30. We're just taxiing out to find a runway to take off. But they shouldn't have to be taken off while we're taking off.
Southern part of the runway that sticks out into Botany Bay, and we'll be taking off to the north today. Shortly after takeoff, turning left, heading towards Richmond initially, and then a left or right turn directed by air traffic control, and we'll be setting course for Christchurch. Excellent flying conditions are forecast for today and for our arrival into Christchurch a little while ago. It was a fine day and 21 degrees. The wind was light and variable. I'm sure you've been told the flight time. It's just on 2 hours 35, and I plan to have you disembarking on schedule at 20 minutes past 1. 20 minutes past 1. If you'd like to set your watches now to Christchurch time, you need to wind them forward 1 hour. It's just on 10:37. 10:37, disembarking at 20 minutes past 1. Once we get going, folks, I will extinguish the seatbelt sign, which means you can move about the cabin. However, when you are seated, you must keep your seatbelt comfortably fastened.
2,100 miles.
The customer service manager has a full package for you today, so I won't disturb you now until just prior to our descent into Christchurch. At that point, I'll update the weather and arrival time. So until then, I'd like to invite you to sit back and relax and enjoy the Qantas in-flight service. Thank you.
Seatbelt securely fastened. And remind you, all personal electronic devices should now be switched off. Thank you.
Missed him saying Christchurch.
Gotta leave it on.
I would ask you to check your seatbelt is securely fastened, seat upright, and tray table leg rest in unlock position. Crew should now be seated for the landing.
They will say welcome to Christchurch, so they might put it on them. There's a good map. Just about down.
Almost on the ground here in New Zealand. Christchurch.
Christchurch is New
Yeah. Down. Both knots, but you did a good job.
Well, we're in another country.
No traffic. All the gates are empty.
Nice weather.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Christchurch. Local time is 19 minutes past 1. Ask you to remain seated until the seatbelt sign has been switched off, and do not smoke or use mobile phones, electronic equipment, including electronic toys, until you are inside the terminal building.
Arctic summertime, the only time of year that they can come and go on the ice with these aircraft, which are fitted with great big wide fat skis to enable them to land on the Antarctic ice plateau on an airstrip. Here we are already. So we thought we should show you this place because of our very long and cherished, really, ties with you guys in the Antarctic. Such a close association we've had with you all, and it's all featured here, every aspect of life in the Antarctic, and explained to you in interesting detail. And Howie and I are going to kind of check you in. And now I have to tell the other people, don't I? In Australia, when I say I'm going to the check-in, they all reckon I'm...
Come on, Harold, I want to get you in there. Yeah. No, you're not going to get away either. There's our ex-president, Bill Clinton, and I guess Chelsea. Okay, I was told it's a seal, not a whale. Hit it again, you'll break it.
Tell you a little bit about Antarctica, a bit about the surrounding buildings and why we're here.
And you'll see that the co-opposition is quite naive and they want to play. They don't realize you're on stream.
Is it rail side?
It's okay, no. Come. I'm going to get you anyway.
Okay, see those whale sizes?
Yes.
Match?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Yeah.
It's kind of lizardy.
Mm-hmm.
Good
afternoon.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Oh, well done.
Kia ora.
Let's go right through the whole procedure. Kia ora tēnā koe, tēnā kouta, haere mai, haere mai.
We got that down. Yeah, right.
You did it right.
Welcome to Christchurch, Mark.
Christchurch, Garden City. Hey,
Welcome to
Christ.
Christchurch. We certainly hope that you did have a pleasant journey from West Island today.
We're on the South Island.
Thank God you are awake. It's wonderful stuff that you're right up with the play.
I told you they were.
Rosie told me you're a sharp lot. But welcome to Christchurch. You're actually about 14 kilometres out from the city. Just to sort of a quick orientation. Of course, you came into the west side of the city.
That's what he just
across
said.
the southern Alps behind you, the mountain chain that provides the backbone for the South Island, dividing the east from the west. You flew from Australia across the Tasman, over the Alps and into the west side of Christchurch City. If you can do a quick equation, you'll work it out in miles. It's what, 14 kilometres, roughly about 9 miles from the city centre. And you came to the west side, directly in front of you, just a quick and a rough layout as far as the lay of the land is concerned, directly in front of the east. And then off to your left is looking towards the north, and then to your right is looking south. More English than England. You may wonder how on earth it got its name, Christchurch. Nothing to do with Christ or the church. It was actually an Irishman that gave Christchurch its name, an English city named by an Irishman. It was a gentleman called John Robert Godley. He came here with the first of the mass migration of European settlers to the city in 1850 on what was then the first 4 ships bringing migrants from England to Christchurch. And he named Christchurch after the school at which he was educated in Canterbury, at Oxford University, Canterbury in England. That's how it got its name. And it is the centre of the Canterbury province,
Well, you guys
which
getting
we
up
have
in the world.
27 provinces in New Zealand. And outside the Auckland region, this is the second largest province in New
You got a good
Zealand.
view, though.
Higher up.
Largest provincial region in the South Island. And it's one of the major manufacturing centres for the country. But no heavy industry here, it's all light commercial. Most of the industry is housed on the eastern, southeastern and the western side of the city. So virtually right round the outer perimeter of the city is where you'd find most of Christchurch's industrial women who gave their lives to fight for king and country in the 2 great wars, the First World War and the Second World War. Some say it was named Memorial Avenue after the coronation of Queen Elizabeth in 1953. So
Pretty straight,
the
huh?
reasons why you may possibly read as to the 2 accounts as to how it got its name. It's going to take us from the airport right to the heart of the city. If you keep watch as we do go to the city, you'll see why Christchurch is strictly known as the Garden City of New Zealand. It's known for its many fine tree-lined streets, parks and gardens. But the origins of this city, 1862, Christchurch became a city. To become a city on New Zealand standards, the population has to be 26,000 or more. To this day, the population here in Christchurch is around 350,000 people. It is reputedly New Zealand's 2nd largest city, although this may be disputed by those who live in Wellington, our capital. The population is very similar to that of Wellington, but Christchurch covers a larger area and landmass than that of Wellington. It's the reason as to why it's widely disputed as being the 2nd largest city in New Zealand. Of course, the largest is Auckland, early April. And to our left here, dating back to 1862, you say general, we say public. This is Christchurch's public hospital. Extensive upgrading since 1862. They're working here in conjunction with one of our schools of medicine, the Otago University School of Medicine, which the Otago relates to. They're also part of the Lionberries, who make one of our popular exporting products, beer known as Steinlager. On the left, the Antigua boat shed dating back to 1870. Boating on the Avon, a very popular pastime. Take note of this chain fence to the left here. This dates back to the days of the early settlers in the district. And there are numerous bars down this avenue here. You can imagine what happened. You're on Oxford Terrace, actually. You go in there, get in their drunken state, come out and end up in the river here. Came up with the idea of putting the chain fence here to stop these unfortunate mishaps.
I don't think so.
People, we're going to take you down Oxford Strip and point out various bars and restaurants to you if you happen to want them to go dining. If you're looking for some fine dining, a beautiful place here in Christchurch is Tiffany's, just on the left here. Reservations are essential. And to your right, Christchurch's first church, dating back to 1851, a very popular school now for the juniors, elementary school. That is St. Michael's. Christchurch is aligned with many sister cities. This is what we call Friendship Corner on the left here. These trees, if you look at them, you'll see at the base of them there are plaques indicating just which sister cities Christchurch does have around the world. This is how we remember those that fought in the various wars around the world. To our left here, we've got the Crimean War, the Boer War, the First World War, the Second World War, the Korean War, and more recently the Vietnam War. If you look to your right, 2 blocks down is your hotel, the Hotel Grand Chancellor. If you're looking for places to dine, an excellent Irish pub. Oh, sorry, not the Grand Chancellor, my apologies. You're in the square at the Millennium. Sorry, let's forget that plan. But
Now back to Irish.
getting back to Oxford Terrace, is an excellent Irish hotel behind you called the Bob. And then there's all these bars and restaurants down the street here that offer excellent dining, if you feel so inclined. One of the popular ones is the Viaduct. This is recently where John Travolta came. He was in town to dine. Another popular one down to your forward right is a place called Sticky Fingers. If you get locked out of your hotel, people, no need to worry. There's a great bunch of guys here in town that can help you. It's a room without a view though. The menu's not all that pleasant either. It's just building over to our left here with P-O-L-I-C-E on the front of it there. This is the central police station in the city, and every little suburb has its own residential or own area station. Arts Centre. The university moved out of here in the late 60s. Because of increasing roles, they moved out to the west side of the city, out at Ilam. And there are 32 workshops within the confines of the old university here. And your botanical gardens, Mr. Barker, Tom Barker to our left here. This is the botanical gardens here. Take note of the fountain that was donated to the people of Christchurch by a family called the Peacock family. That's why it's known as the Peacock Fountain. People, if you do have the time, visit our museum, particularly if you want to find out about the early, and in particular about the indigenous people, the Maori people. Excellent Canterbury settlers room within the museum here, and the Maori room, Antarctic room, and out here. It's just an easy walk up from the centre of the town. If you look directly in front of you, you'll see Canterbury's Cathedral. Right behind there is your hotel. Also another fine restaurant over to your forward right is La Bonne Volley.
No.
Time?
Sure.
But the cost is $10. They also have an excellent dining car on the tram here. But you can get off and on the tram at any point you choose.
Dinner on the tram would be nice.
Dinner on the tram is absolutely spectacular. Victoria Square, which used to be our marketplace until 1910, from 1850 till 1910, is to our left here, named after Queen Victoria. And then if you look behind Queen Victoria, you'll see a statue of the gentleman who discovered New Zealand in 1769, the English navigator, Captain James Cook. And also note as we make our way to the hotel, you possibly
Yeah, thank you, Howard.
Well, good morning. I have no idea what date it is that we're at the Millennium in Christchurch, New Zealand, where we spent the night last night. It's our hotel. Our room should be somewhere around in there. This is a picture of the hotel and its booths. You can zoom in past that street sweeper. Marge is sitting over there behind the hedge. There she is, right by the street sweeper. We had our breakfast this morning. Continental, very nice. There's some of our latecomers still there. Bar area, lounge, pretty neat hotel. Main desk. Back. Oh, by the way, Marge reminded me it's Friday, the 23rd. This is the back of the cathedral. We'll get a front of it later after our walking tour today. There's a sign of our hotel, the Millennium, and the main entrance. Telephone booth, bright red. There's Marge over there shooting Avon.
Yeah, I wonder if the royalty of all this hormone cooking to along and get your Love it.
Get your big head out of the way, will you?
That isn't so big.
Harold, walk right over there.
I call myself a horticulturalist, which is a master of everything, and general things, but not master of anything. Just to give you a wee bit of background, it's important you know who's leading it, isn't it? And I can tell this group's got a good feel, and Rosie sort of you know.
I'm a dragon
I
lady.
could probably see the marks on their back.
Yeah.
Got later on with cat and down tails.
That's who I am.
But you should know who you're dealing with. I'm married, one wife.
One wife.
3 daughters.
Oh.
Like looking. There's different connotations from where you're from. Look, just standing here, the most magnificent trees, and I don't think so because you're American, but the sequoias are our biggest trees in these botanic gardens. The giant tree, the big tree as it's commonly known, of course, as you well know, Sequoia gigantea. You'll see it's sequoia right through the gap there.
Oh, yeah.
A little peak right through the gap, the little very, very sharp peak. They've got various forms for them. Some have got their tops knocked off a wee bit in the winds. I think this is a nice area to see some of the trees, and we'll have a bit of mixture. Well, they've got 100 for the rest of it. You'd ask your reason why that is, and then like a paradise. It's not a very good stat to have, really. We're working on it actively as well. Spreading like that. You've got a good cross section of the tree, haven't you? I'd love to have a butterfly house, in these gardens, but we haven't. But the monarchs are absolutely unbelievable. It's taken the public of Christchurch, they're really getting behind feeding the little grubs and getting them to hatch out. Magnificent to see, and we've got a good year for monarchs this year, that's for sure.
You have bigger dogs.
One gigantic one.
This is Eucalyptus verminalis. It is in English. Eucalyptus, they start shedding their bark to stop epiphytic things growing on them.
You almost see somebody just standing next to you.
Around fighting the rest of the tree. Yep.
It's the rear side of the eucalyptus.
This is the beginning of their autumn. Their trees are shedding, and we're in the botanical gardens here. It's really very pretty.
We are now in Zuli, rainforest in New Zealand. It never rains in here, but
The monkeys from these trees.
yeah, there's a bunch of them up here.
So cute, fantail.
Does their tails fan out?
They love that.
Cute.
They're actually
No, that's why they call them
they're an
fantails.
insect-catching bird, and they never fly in a straight line. I will say the male is the most attractive of the species.
Well, you would say that.
Still there. Dear.
And the fantails, he just...
I know what stress is.
You're right.
Thank you.
You are dead right. Have a good look around. We'll pick you up in 4 minutes. Have a look at your favourite rose. And we'll pick you up over here in the big show house in 4 minutes, okay? So hang yourself out.
It is hotter than Hades in here. The tropical plants. These in the hothouse. We just watered everything and it's leaking.
Can you get my back?
No, just not going. Need to get out of here.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Gee, this is beautiful.
This is the wow area.
Whoa.
There's a real picture.
Wow, yeah, it is.
These are all the
Look, just to let you know about Tuberous peonis here, these are obviously a cool growing plant. We get them up and start growing around about August, September, and these tubers, some of these tubers are about 10 years old, okay, so we get them up. They're dormant over the winter time. We let them dry out completely, okay. Attitude is just, yeah.
all day long. So please feel free to come and shift up into
Put
the
Bill
front
down there in
seats.
that jump seat.
And also, of course, you know, we talked about seat rotation. We don't worry about practicing it because we only have like 1 day on the road, 1.5 days on the road. So just share the front seats around amongst yourselves, okay? Oh, there you
Good
go.
job. Thank you. This is perfect, but I do shoot that bar there.
Somebody's going to sit in front of you.
Okay, folks, welcome to South Island.
Morning, Rob.
Thank you.
We've got a couple of bobs on the wall already.
We got 2 bobs.
2 bobs.
2 bob tours.
Now we've got 3 bobs. 3 bobs. Bee bob, a boo bob. What's the name of your fossil here?
No one? Not supposed to do this, but you didn't see me, did you?
No.
That sign up the brand is just for decorations. We have a few hills. Hopefully we'll be at the Hermitage at 1 o'clock lunch.
Yep.
1 o'clock.
Yep.
And it'll be the best buffet lunch you've ever had, or will have. You're not allowed to eat too much dessert.
Do they have kangaroo?
Kangaroo? No, we don't have kangaroo.
That's not the best lunch then.
In the wrong country, Jim.
You must be hard up if you got eating kangaroo.
Haven't got any yet.
That's very nice.
Is it? They were bringing in kangaroo flies one time, weren't they, until they get caught?
Put it in your hamburger.
I enjoyed it, what we saw.
Very pretty.
said that there was a whole lot to see still. Oh, sure. They should have done.
No one got lost?
No. Everybody back.
No, we just beat the hell out of that one street.
Oh, is that right?
You can see we have a medical school there. It's a funny way to pass it.
Yeah.
Saturday morning, 7:30.
The Otago, the University of Otago comes from Dunedin,
7:35.
city further south. That's where our oldest university is. 1871 was first opened. And when it opened, it had a medical school. And we now have a branch of that medical school in Christchurch, one in Wellington. I'm not sure about all. Hagley Park, here on the left and right hand side. Botanical, the back entrance to the Botanical Gardens here on the right.
We went in there.
And of course the Avon River. Anybody go down the Avon on a romantic trip yesterday on the punting?
No.
I watched them.
Just here on the right hand side now.
Oh, look at it there. Pretty.
Oh, that bar.
Pretty flower.
We have a population here of 3.8 million. And we just had a census, and they 5-yearly census, and they say it's going to be, the way it's, the count is shaping up, it's going to be about 3.9 million. No. Now we have 3 major islands in New Zealand: the North Island, the South Island, and we have an island called Stewart Island. It's Rosie's Island. Anyway, the South Island is the largest of just over 150,000 square kilometres. Sorry, I haven't converted it to miles. North Island is just over 115,000 square kilometres, and Stewart Island is just about 1,700 square kilometres. Even though we have the biggest island, the South Island's biggest island, we only have about 26% of the population. New Zealand's population lives down here. There's more people in this, within the city of Auckland than there is in the South Island. With our Maori population, just over 12%. But down here in the South Island, we only have just over 11.4, I think it is, percent of the Maori population live down here. When you go to the North Island, you'll see all our Maoris up there. That's probably why, yeah. New Zealand got its name by, was given its name by Abel Tasman, first European to arrive here in 1642. Now he didn't land in New Zealand, but he had a bit of an argument with some of the Maoris, and 4 of his sailors got killed, so he up anchor and away, sailed away. It wasn't South Island. We have a range of mountains called the Southern Alps, about 800 kilometres long. This is where all our major mountains are. On the western side of the mountains here, we have a place called the West Coast, and that's where you'll find most of our native forest down here in the South Island. But 80% of the South Island, 80% of the West Coast is covered in native forest. And we only have a population over there, but now in New Zealand we have approximately 45 million sheep. We have 19 different breeds. Some are bred for their wool, like the merinos. very fine wool and put under the Canterbury Plains. But later on you'll see irrigation ditches, and that's when they use that water for, they just flood paddocks or whatever, flows from one end of the paddock to the other.
Sure, they just hang around one or two and the hard so well it's not there. Show them it was a demonstration.
I was lucky enough to be on a farm tour here for dairy farms, and they went down about 30 feet.
Oh, is that all?
That's when they're pumping out at 30 feet, so whether they struck a good supply or not, I don't know. I think it's like
Our first stop for the day, which is the tin shed. Ta-da! Now this is not something I've been clever enough to discover.
Oh, yeah.
Our coaches have been coming, he ran circles, hasn't exactly got the tin shed for the program directors, and they talk to me and we all tell one another along the road what's good and what's not. And the tin shed's been good for a number of years now for good buys. So if you did a bit of research around Christchurch, would have spotted some things you'd like to look off and check the price. And here's where you'll hopefully be able to buy them. They've got nearly everything that you can buy in the big stores, but for a lot less. And of course, don't forget they'll post home for you. You save the GST, pay for the postage, which usually manages to even itself out, whatever. But don't despair if you can't find what you want, because it will be in Queenstown for sure. There's like hundreds of shops in Queenstown. How many shops in Queenstown, Paul? Selling one things.
100.
far too many, because they're all selling the same thing, aren't they?
Yeah, they are basically. So we're going to be able to have.
Sheep haven't been sheared yet.
Oh, it's
They haven't
really
been sheared
nearly
yet.
exactly 9 o'clock, and Bob's going to give us 45 minutes here, which is good. They have good bathroom facilities. They have.
We have a lot of people, a lot of retired farmers in this area.
Geraldine.
And this part of Geraldine we go travelling through at the moment, there's a lot of lifestyle blocks here. Little 5 acre to 50 acre little farmlets or lifestyle blocks. There's a lot of farmers in the district retire and they come to Geraldine, and instead of walking away from farming completely, they like to have a little hobby farm. Just this area here is little hobby farms. Very fertile land around here. In the early days, we had up to 10 sawmills cutting a native forest in this region, but that's all stopped now. And we only have one bit of native forest really here, and that's just up the back of the township. We have a reserve. It's there forever and a day, and for the locals to and visitors to walk through and enjoy the native forest.
Got 3 different.
Good little community, 1,500 people.
Flying. Oh, he's up on the hill.
Yeah. North End Ford. It's an AMC again.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
LJ Hooker. I got LG Hooker. There's Geraldine.
There's a Mount Cook coming up right here.
What?
Mount Cook.
Okay, get your hand out of the way. Get your finger out of the way.
Oh, gee, they turned. Fairleigh, that's another town.
Leave all the tourists here.
So this is a little township of Geraldine. Now from here to Tekapo will be okay, that'll give you some idea what you can see by flying around the mountain.
For us, it's dry.
You know, if we were at home and those cows are laying down, that means it's going to rain.
Oh no.
True.
Really?
True. Very true.
What? Very, very valuable farmland. It is very dry at the moment. It's very good sheep country. Sheep cannot stand wet conditions. They get a terrible disease called foot rot, which literally rots their little hooves, the poor little critters. Since New Zealand is so dependent on agriculture and horticulture for its income, tourism comes second to it, I must say. Forestry is about third after that. Lumber industry, as you'd call it. We have to be very careful about diseases, and I was just thinking about poor old Britain and now Europe with the dreaded foot and mouth disease. If that ever came to New Zealand, it would ruin our entire economy almost overnight. It would put a stop to all our meat exports, and we'd be down the plug hole, that's for sure. So we're almost folk coming into New Zealand from overseas, any country really, especially so at the moment. Farming in New Zealand is had to become amazingly efficient. The people who own the farms and operate them have to be not just farmers but full-blown businessmen these days. You do a degree in farming, in the farming industry, as one of
the mating of the sheep starts March, early April. The first lambs are born in August, early September. Now the farmer used to have the lambing to coincide with the school holidays. So you have the children home to give a hand on the farm over lambing. Because he's very busy in that 2 weeks lambing period. The lambing period. And once the lambs are 3 to 4 or 5 weeks old, the farmer will round them all up and cut the tails off them. The tail's no good for anything. It's no good for export or anything. So by cutting the tails off them, it keeps the back end of the sheep or the lamb reasonably clean. What he's got them there, he's putting his earmark on them. Every farmer has his own mark, and it's put, well, some of them put tags, some of them punch holes in the ears. The different shapes and different parts of the ear. And he also inoculates them for diseases, and any male that's lamb that's not required for breeding are castrated, because we do not export ram meat. Okay, so by castrating them, that meat can then be sold as the same as the female meat. Nice green grass.
Really pretty. I don't know how it will come out.
And hopefully good weather when we stop here. Okay.
A herd of deer, commercially raised for venison. bunch more over here.
We built the paddock for the lamb, so a lot of farmers will breed lamb this year. Yeah, a little town, another little farming community.
Now, do they buy breeding stock for very high prices?
Sorry?
Do they buy breeding stock for very high prices?
Yes, they, well, they're not, I think they get more for their lamb than they do, they're buying the breeding.
Oh, shoes. Tennis shoes.
Oh my goodness.
You're looking for a pair of fencing.
It all started when someone found a pair of shoes on the side of the road. They put them on the fence, hoping that whoever lost them would come back looking for them. This is what the result. You can see why we don't let you out, ladies.
Tennis shoes.
I think I have some shoes I can
Someone
go
tried
in.
to start another fence here. They were hanging ladies' bras on the fence. Just to the right, that feet.
Just missed it.
There's not a cloud around it. Of course, Mount Cook is the Maori name for Mount Cook is Iraqi, and which means cloud piercer. So can't sort of call it that today because there's no cloud around it. It's got a bit of an end to the right. That is Mount Sefton. Now, when we go for lunch at the Hermitage is just virtually underneath that mountain. Trees on them. The third hill back is Mount Cook, or third mountain back. You just see part of the top of it.
Up there.
12,379 feet above sea level. I'll tell you as we're getting into Mount Cook, towards Mount Cook, when you get a good look at it. We'll be stopping at the statue of the sheepdog. This statue is sculpted by a local farmer's wife that in recognition of the work that the sheepdog does to help the farmer farm this land. As you can imagine, the farmer trying to get the sheep off the mountains without a dog. I'll let you off there, and we've had Japanese weddings here. We didn't see the last one because they're still behind closed doors, but the other two, we happen to be there when they come out of the church. Yeah, it's beautiful today. The lake's a wee bit low because we use this water for hydro power generating. I'll drive down to the church and meet you down there. Okay? Normally here for about 10-15 minutes at the most. Hopefully you can have a job getting a photograph of all the kids on.
Kids on there. That's a dog, not a horse, kid. Get off it.
Okay, and there's the wee church.
They're very valuable.
He's eating a sheepdog.
Brenda. Dog up there?
Oh, that dog.
That dog. Gotta get a picture of the dog.
Get up close enough. kick in.
Yeah, I had people in front of me and people behind me.
Okay, just don't stop, that's all. Gotcha anyway.
That's a cute church. That little church that you're looking at is the Church of Good Shepherd at Lake Tipaco.
When it is? Late what?
Tekapo.
Okay.
Lake Tekapo.
And sleeping dog, sleeping man.
And while you
Instead of we've just got 3 anymore now? No? Oh, what a waste of a good day.
You go. Go ahead, tell what I said.
Okay, now Lake Tekapo has been, the level has been raised to hold more water for the power scheme. But before they could raise the level of the lake, they had to shift some of the township up onto higher ground. This hotel on the right-hand side there, we call it the YMCA.
Yay! That's my second one.
But it's not, it has a different meaning for the yesterday's meal's cooked again.
No. You're gonna have to upgrade that.
That's a good one. That's a good one there.
They have had the same menu for the last 10 years. They, if you're lucky enough to go there for lunch at about 1 o'clock, some of the stir fries are cooked enough on the Bay Marie to eat. Otherwise, by the time dinner comes at night, the same stir fries are overcooked. They stay in the Bay Marie all afternoon. You won't see many drivers, or many of the old drivers eating there. We go along the road by Pye, Big Pye. Look at the cut of the lake there on the right-hand side. Yes. A lot of water sport on this lake, a lot of water skiing, a lot of fishing. Because I could fly. I'd like to fly. I've never done this flight because I've always had to drive the coach. I have from the west coast side of the mountain. I have been up there with my helicopter. Anytime there's a spare seat on the helicopter, I'm on it because I enjoy the helicopters, and I quite often go up around Mount Cook by helicopter. It's a fantastic flight. Okay, other than that, the level has been raised over 200 feet. There's a wee power station, you'll see that later on, where the water comes from Lake Tekapo. The water parts from here down a 13-kilometre canal and through more power stations. Now it's a different colour water again. The glacier flower is more dense here. I've never ever seen a boat on this lake. They say there's not many fish in it. What fish are in the lake are around where the fresh water comes into the lake itself. Those mountains, we have about 20 over the height of 9,000 feet. We have 2 more glaciers, 2 more large glaciers. We have Fox Glacier and Franz Joseph Glacier. Now these 2 glaciers are quite unique in the world because there's not very many places where you get glaciers coming down through a temperate rainforest. Now these glaciers have been moving, or been extending back down towards the sea. When we get a heavy rainfall or heavy snow up in the neve, which is the top of the mountain, top of the glacier, these glaciers will move up to 30 feet a day. From 1989, how high they've raised the level of the lake. Out there on the left-hand side is the old riverbed.
it.
And for some reason this lake is keeping it full, or near enough to full. Normally the level is way down, fairly low this time of year. They seem to be holding the level of the lake for some reason.
Got it.
Half an hour ago.
And from the end of the canal from Lake Tikabone, and that's one of the small power stations. It's on the east of the stream. Now all our surplus power.
Oh yes, I see. Take pictures. It is very impressive the way that cloud covers. Wow.
He said you can take a picture if you want, he said.
You say you can take a picture if you want to.
He said you can take a picture. They're waiting for them anyway. Well,
Well, we might as well go then. I'm leaving my purse in this way. Jim.
Tasman Glacier.
See Mount Sefton. Have we seen it the other side of Tikabone? Got the full cloud around it now, but when we have lunch, we'll be virtually underneath it. And don't panic if you hear a big, when you sit down for lunch, you hear a big bang. Don't panic, there's just ice coming off the side of Mount Sefton.
It's cabbing.
We also have ski planes that depart this airport just out here on the right hand side. It all started way back in the early 1950s when Harry Wigley had a little mill there. And we have one down here called Glencoe, owned by the same company. But Glencoe normally is only open for 3 to 4 months of the year. A lot of the houses way to the left belong to the Alpine Guides or the National Park employees. We've never owned a little primary school here, and you see the little lime green building there. See it covered? That's a local primary school. Okay, as you go into the Hermitage, as I said before, watch the steps and just follow Rosie in, and the toilets, if you go to the reception area and turn hard left and go down a little...
Yeah, I thought he said apples.
Yeah. To the bottom, we give everybody one book.
Gosh, plum chunk.
My plum is
We
very
could have passed
No,
one.
this is their peaches, not spot.
That's a good idea.
Probably not quite ripe enough. It's not juicy. No. Maybe my peach is better. I think peach too.
Oh, one way.
Bridge just moved.
That's life.
Huh?
That tunnel, you said there was...
Deer and sheep. Yeah, I can't. It's too late.
Just up here on the
There we
left-hand
are.
side, we should see some big wapiti bulls. The paddock here, there's one wandering the fence there. On the left-hand side.
Oh, yeah. Poor thing sees all those beauties in there and can't get to it.
It was the first European to sail a boat on Lake Wakatipu. Very good for fishing there, but no fishing guide can bring in any customers here for fishing. And if you want to go out in the middle of the lake fishing, you have to row your boat because there's not allowed to be any motorboats on this lake either. Okay, just up here behind you on the left-hand side.
Oh, that one?
See the chapel back there, Bill?
Back here.
Oh, that is something.
No, behind us here.
Private wedding. The house is behind us.
Yeah. This is where they've got the digging out the side of the hill. That's where it's going to be built next. They surveyed the township. Now the first name that Queenstown had was called the Camp. But then once a few permanent houses arrived and the streets were formed, mine is renamed to Queenstown because they hoped that one day the township would be fit for a queen, and I'll let you make that judgment. Certainly is.
Don't worry about tipping over.
This is Frankton, named after Mr. Reese that owned the sheep station in this area. He gave it his name after his wife's maiden, or named it after his wife's maiden name, Frankton. There's mountains to the front of us to the left. There's the remarkable mountains. And it's
Remarkable park.
All things we're gonna see a shopping center.
It's used a lot for water sport, swimming, fishing. Now we have a lot of holiday homes here in Queenstown. A lot of overseas money invested in this area. Now we'll drive past the hotel and we'll drive downtown and we drive around just to show you where a lot of
Right.
It's a real diet.
Yeah. Nelson says he'd lose weight on that.
That'll curb your appetite.
You're my idol. I'll get look like you.
When we had the big flood through here in 12 months ago last November, this hillside up here on the right hand side decided it was going to move. There's about 10 houses on the bottom, on the left hand side that were condemned.
Oh.
They put a retaining wall in there, but I can't see that stopping it for too long. Surprisingly, there's only one house that I know of was flooded. That was the old Harbour Master's house, just up around the corner here on the left-hand side. It had about 2.6 feet of water through. It's since been demolished. All the jet boaters out there, all the Asians doing jet boating. Now on the lake we have the old TSS Earnslaw, built 1912. In the early days, Queenstown relied on boats. There's up to 30 boats on this lake servicing sheep stations, Queenstown, Philadelphia at the end of the lake, because the road around from the south end of the lake to Queenstown wasn't completed until 1936. So Queenstown relied on boats. And we service them. There's no roads to them, but they have their own motorised barges now. Of course, when we go up to the gondola, Okay, just here on the right hand side, you'll see the reception area. See what it's made of?
Bottles.
They tell us it's 14,726 bottles.
Second one.
Directly in front of us we have the gondola. You see a gap amongst the trees. That's the cable car which we're going up on Tuesday.
We are.
You see the Kiwi Magic film. Now this is supposed to be the steepest gondola in the world. It's not the longest, but it is the steepest. It has an angle of a 37-degree angle.
As long as we don't look down, you're all right.
This is our hotel on the right-hand side.
Did the millennium.
The next 4 nights. 3 nights, sorry. We have 3 nights. Yes, it does have a laundry.
They
here.
do, I think these guys have restaurants.
Now, if you want to invest some money in this area, I'm not sure these new apartments here. Now, one of the restaurants that I highly recommend, and that is the Pick and Whistle, just here on the left-hand side.
Pick and Whistle.
The English bar.
Pig and Whistle.
And if you want a nice cheap meal, what we call bangers and mash, $5. And sausages, peas and potatoes.
Sounds all right with me.
And here on St. Patrick's Day, they had the potatoes that were green. The shopping mall, Queenstown Shopping Mall.
KFC, so McDonald's is right across the street.
We have O'Connell's building here. There's a food court downstairs. They are open tomorrow, yes.
That's right, it's Sunday.
Queenstown is open every
Donna,
day.
what was it?
Subway.
What do they call it? Bangers and what? What's the
Bangers and mash.
Bangers and mash.
Bangers and
Now you can see they don't.
Downtown Queenstown.
The town fathers don't make the streets for us coach drivers. They don't want us here. They want the people here, but they don't want us to bring in the coaches into the town.
I don't see it, Donna.
A lot of different bars. Steakhouse here, the Beef Eater, very nice. Left hand side. Sports bar and the Lone Star and that up on the right hand side.
Lone Star on the right hand side.
Okay.
What is that? Duke Street and Shadow?
Yep. Good restaurant coming up here on the left hand side. Gourmet Express. You can get anything from a hamburger through to lamb chops.
That's what I want to get for release. Lamb chops. Breaded.
Anybody want a fish restaurant? There's a boardwalk around here, but now some people have been disappointed in the service, not the food and the service, and others have enjoyed it. So
Is there a restaurant called Bunker?
I never heard of it.
Never heard of it? Okay.
Boardwalk just up here at the top upstairs here beside the casino, or one of the casinos.
You may have misunderstood.
Okay, we'll definitely tour and then round. The wharf to meet your boat tomorrow, just here on the left hand side.
It is downhill all the way.
Yeah, well, it's flat ground though. We can take a canoe. Ours isn't any closer.
Okay, we'll turn around and go back again.
I think we were supposed to stay there.
I normally go down past the old hotel, Leichhardt's Hotel, but they've got scaffolding out on the side of the footpath. I cannot get around.
Going up the BNZ, it's like 7 days a week, maybe.
Yeah.
Like global shop where they come over.
Queenstown.
Now just up here at where this bus in front of us, BNZ is down that street there. Sorry, the back of New Zealand, sorry. Just making,
It's open 7 days.
yeah, it's open 7 days for foreign exchange, okay? Just down there to the right-hand side.
And opposite is Global Kiwis where you can buy a jacket like mine. Thank you. Opposite where you do. And that was what street? That's what you saw last night. Some of you went downtown, had some good meals at good places, had some fun by the sound of it. Tonight dinner's included, but
Sunday.
tomorrow night you're on your own to try some cafes out again. First thing we're going to do is, does anybody remember where McDonald's is? Yeah, right here. See the golden arches on the right across the road? This is
Is that where the tram picks us up?
This is where the shuttle bus from the hotel comes to pick you up for a free ride home. Only once an hour. It leaves the hotel on the hour, every hour. And so therefore it will be down here about 5 past the hour. So right out here, outside, the day all the hotels have their free shuttles coming and going from there. It gets pretty jolly busy. Now while we're on the Boat, sailing across the lake, I'm going to come and chat to you and find out how many people are interested in flying back from Milford Sound tomorrow instead of driving, especially if the weather's going to be like this.
Yeah.
It is all dependent on the weather, but it is a marvellous trip and you save so much travel time, like, 3.5 hours travel time just about. Gives you extra time here. What else do I need to know? I actually made myself some notes. Oh yeah, something I forgot to tell you guys, and I apologise terribly. Please pay attention. I feel really bad about this. I'm easily confused in my old age. At this hotel in Queenstown, the chefs will cook eggs at breakfast to order any way you like, and there is no extra charge, I promise.
I didn't see
No
a
extra
chef.
charge. It's so different from one hotel to the other, I just forget about which is what and where. But here at breakfast, eggs to order any way you like, and no extra charge. So we've told you about the hotel shuttle. There's also a shopper's bus, a big red regular bus called the shopper's bus with paintings all over the side of it that does frequent circuits, like about every 20 minutes via.
Sonia's there at the moment.
Pretty lake. I think this is Sunday morning. Not sure. You take a saddleboat tour up to the sheep farmer, watch the dogs work, and also shear sheep today. Beautiful day. At 9:30 in the morning.
To get to the sheep station.
What's the matter?
dead. I have a battery that's
No, that's fine. Give me. You bring it with you?
No, I'll get it this evening. You know what happened?
Morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning.
How are you?
Just fine.
Well, the piston's cranking away. It's like we're getting ready to take off. We'll go down and get a better shot of it here pretty soon. Good morning, good morning. I got seasick pills if anybody gets sick, Here's your pretty girl. You too. You're very pretty. Say good morning. Yes, and we'll charge you for it. Free of charge.
Shoveling down there.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Get a picture of that.
Yeah.
Now we're speeding up now.
Yep. That's where we'll be tomorrow.
Now, just before we start,
you lose your seats.
Very short safety brief. Turn the marker on an emergency.
It's too windy out there. That's too windy out there.
It's all. $3,000 Purdy, right at Mount Nicholas down the Thompson and Turnbull. They also help form part of that.
directing traffic. There's your welcoming committee, Bill. Look at all the ducks there.
What's that?
There's your welcoming committee, all those ducks.
Oh, yeah. That's where the hot dog is.
Welcome to Wild Pet, guys, and my name's Nigel. I'm going to be a show guide for a couple of hours until the boat gets back. What we're going to do, we're going to go up to the sheep shed, where we'll shear a sheep, run the dogs around and around the sheep, and talk a little bit about all the different breeds that we've got, and we'll see what else we can pull out of the hat. We're going to go that way. After we've done that, we'll waltz on here through the gardens, over to the homestead, where we'll have a cup of tea and some coffee, a little bit of something to eat. We've got to get our energy levels up so we can climb the mountain. What are you laughing for? I won't climb the mountain.
It's the only way out.
Anyone who doesn't want to climb the mountain, then you come with guts and Clydesdale horses with a wagon behind them. And I know we've got 2 people booked on the wagon. You can go on whenever you like. Anyone else who wants to jump on, you're most welcome to talk to Raylene and Graham. It's an additional $15. You'll go up the valley of the farm. Very good photo opportunities up there. See some cows and some sheep.
Oh, they got all the sheep ready to get their cook.
This is Jake. This is Jake, people. And this is what we call a huntaway. Huntaway dog, they were bred in New Zealand. Here, Jake. Here, Jake. Way back. Way back. So there's about 6 of them there. See like that? Up. See how he hooked them there behind them? Here, Jake, get him behind. That's it. Way back. Way back, Jake. See, they thought they were free for just a moment. No. Hey, Jake, up. Up.
My dog's never behaved that well.
Up, way back. And see how he barks? That's the barking dog. And he brings them in just like that. And on those sheep, people, we've got 6 months worth of wool, and they're going to get a lucky prize tomorrow of a free haircut. See, that's the barking dog, people. What we've got here, that's the eye dog. And that's a border collie. Jim's what we call a border collie, people. Big difference. She's using her eyes to run the sheep up, whereas Jake uses his strength and his voice, okay? And we use eye dogs up in the mountains. Will it go, Jim? Will it go, Jim? Jim, will it go? Jim, will it go? And she's also developing a skill which we call selective hearing. Jim, will it go? See that? Here, Jim. And we'll push these sheep out, and we'll see how Jim works them. Here, Jake. Will it go, Jake? Will it go? Way back. Okay, Jake, you do it.
Oh, stop.
Okay, see how he works them? And a couple tried to get away, and it...
I think these dogs are semi-retired. They're going to do this for
And just brings them in like that. And that's how we move them from paddock to paddock, on the low country, valley to valley, or mountainside to mountainside. Have a look closely, people. Some of those sheep have got different coloured ear tags. See that dog using her eyes?
Yeah, look at her.
And that's what we call intimidating the sheep. Just intimidating the sheep. Whereas Jake just gets in there behind him. He's looking pretty scary like a monster, so they run anyway. And there's
She
two
looks like
different,
she's
very
ready
different
to
dogs there.
attack.
Hunter Ways were bred in New Zealand
Yeah.
about 150 years ago.
That's why.
Those sheep people, they've got different coloured ear tags in their ears. Well, only two of those sheep have got ear tags. There's a yellow and there's a blue. And normally every sheep has got an ear tag. They've got 5 colours to choose from. And what it is the sheep's favourite colour. Sheep's favourite colour, we allow it to stick it in their ear. Jack? Eh? And the wee one there, people, there's a wee sheep right at the back of them all. That's a wee lamb. And when it comes by you again, you'll have a look and see how it's got a tail. Get back, Jane. Jim, get back. Way back, Jill. When it comes back, you'll notice that the wee lamb's got a tail, but the older sheep have got no tails. And you might wonder why that is, but it's because we cut them off and stick them in our soup.
Oh.
Quite tasty. Get back. Get back, Jake. And see, Jim? I pushed Jake around, and she's just ready there. She's guarding the gate. So full control over the sheep. I push the dog out there to bring them here, and Jim automatically knows her job is to guard the gateway. See that? And she'll slowly work up on them. See, the sheep, they're looking at the dog there because they're quite nervous. They don't know what the dog's next to move is. Will it go, Jim? Will it go? Like that. So 2 very different dogs there. Jim's about 9 years old. So in doggy years, that's about 63. Any other 63-year-olds want to come and join her? Oh, serious? Will it go, Jill? Will it go, Jim? Here, Jake, get him behind.